appreciate you guys jumping on here for us. We'll try to keep this to an hour. We do have a lot to go over with you guys. But first, just a little quick background. I'm Elizabeth Cully, and I'm one of the owners of GravityCerts, and I have the insurance background for the company. I've been in the industry for about 20 years and worked on the captive side for a little bit, and then joined the independent side, I don't know, 18 years ago. So I brought Jarrell on into the insurance industry about 5 years ago as I needed help growing my independent agency. So that's just a quick background about where I come from.
My name is Jarrell. I'm Elizabeth's husband, one of the main developer behind GravityCerts. So I've been a programmer and a developer for also about 20 years now. Worked with all sorts of different companies. Prior to getting involved in the insurance niche, I was doing a lot of work in the private practice medical field for a lot of doctors and like plastic surgeons, orthopedics, things like that, doing integrations and things for them. So a lot of experience with programming and building and designing sites. So that's where everything sort of came into play for us. As I had the tech background and Elizabeth had the insurance background, and we were able to come together and create GravityCerts out of that. So Elizabeth is going to go over some of the features here real quick, and we'll get going.
So like I mentioned, GravityCerts has a lot to offer, and we only have an hour. So we're just going to do a really brief overview of each of the features. So if you guys are interested or have questions, we are going to pause at the end of each feature just to allow for a few Q&A. So if you guys have questions on whatever we're discussing, just wait until that Q&A, and then that's your opportunity. We'll also have another Q&A at the end of the presentation for, generic questions. Of course, if you guys are interested and you want to see how GravityCerts can benefit your specific agency, then we can just book a demo and we can go into details about exactly what it would be for your agency. But today we're going to go over some of the different features, like I mentioned. So the website, which is huge, that's the main part of GravityCerts, is this fully functioning website. We're going to go through quote forms and how that works from your website and pushes the data that you need from your prospects into NowCerts. We're going to go through the main ways where you can reduce duplicate data entry, because if you're like most insurance agency owners, we hate doing things not efficiently and more than once. So we have the GravityCerts plugin that's going to help eliminate that, which I will show you guys. And then also the quote proposal system, very custom. Clients love it. It's a way to present your quotes for your agency. And then last but not least, the client center. So that is where your clients can go and view your their policies and different information on your website. So please stay tuned because at the very end, after the Q&A, we're going to have a special announcement for everybody that's able to hang on for the end. So you won't want to miss that. So please try to stay tuned. So let's just jump in. And the first thing we want to talk about is the website. And so whether you guys currently have a website or if you're newer to the industry and you want to get a website from scratch, doesn't matter. GravityCerts can help you either way. We have multiple different templates, and this is our demo site that we created. Everything is obviously super customizable to your agency, to your, we can use your logo, your colors, we can modernize it. We try to make the websites up to date, modern, they're ADA friendly, they're secure. It's really the most powerful agency website that's out there. And of course it integrates with NowCerts, which is great. So we want to go through a few of the features of the website. So like Jarrell mentioned, he's the primary developer. So he will be the one that would be contacting whoever in your agency wants to set up the website, and he'll go through pages, content, images. He will pretty much put it together for you using some of the content that you provide. We also have a lot of pre-built content. So if you are a commercial lines agency only, obviously you probably don't want all the personal line stuff. Vice versa, if you're a personal lines agency, you may not need the commercials. So we have a lot of different content. We have a lot of trucking companies and agencies. That's a very niche market as well. So we can really cater the website to whatever your agency needs. Part of the, well, I personally think one of the best features of the website is the quote forms. And when we started our agency, I really wanted to have my CSRs and my staff stop spending 20 and 30 minutes on the phone, gathering information, name, date of birth, driver's license numbers, what type of business quote do you want? So I asked Jerome, and I said, hey, can you just build us out these quote forms so that the clients can spend time on the website doing it ourselves? This is great because one, it boosts your SEO on your website. So it's going to make your rankings on Google come up better, which is what we all want, right? I mean, we're all in the same industry, so, competing against one another, but really having an awesome website and awesome SEO is going to drive that traffic and leads to your site without you having to pay for leads, because you're going to be coming up on Google faster. So the quote forms are fully customizable, especially if you're in multiple states. I know there's a lot of agencies out there that work in lots of different states. There are conditionals on the states. So for instance, like if you're in Florida, maybe you're going to have questions on your homeowner's quote form, like about hurricane clips and straps. And if you're in California, maybe it's earthquake and it has your home been retrofitted for earthquake. So depending on what state you're in, we can make sure that to cater the conditional questions. So that's awesome. You don't have to think of all those questions to ask. It's already pre-built into the quote forms. There's a lot of information. Our prospects will just go to the website. They'll select the type of quote that they want. They fill in the information. Very, very easy, very simple. And it will then take all of that data and it pushes it using the plugin directly into NowCerts. Cheryl will talk about that here in just a minute, but this is one of the only agency websites that does this. And it's great because you don't have the duplicate data entry. You have the prospects putting in the information one time. That pushes that data into NowCerts, and then it's available for you. So you don't have to key it into NowCerts. You don't have to add it to your court applications or supplementals if you're doing it that way. Plus, again, you're having the client, your prospects, spend time on your website, which is going to help boost your SEO.
So just to go over a little bit with the quote forms, there's a lot built out for these forms. I know some of you are probably familiar with Zapier and integrating forms with Zapier and things. With GravityCerts, this is the only way that I know of that you can actually get multiple drivers, vehicles, properties into NowCerts. If I go back and I'll show you an example here. If I go to the auto quote, I go to the second page where we would enter our drivers. All these fields for the driver information, they're created on the fly. And Zapier and other systems, they just don't have the ability to grab this information because it doesn't actually exist in the form until the person actually clicks, add driver, and then it's created on the fly with these fields. With GravityCerts, this can all get sent into your NowCerts account, which is great. I think on our business commercial auto quotes, I think the largest we had was a guy submitted, I think it was 14 drivers and 9 vehicles. He actually took the time and put in all that information. And then it just all pushed into our NowCerts account. It was really nice not having to actually enter in all that driver and vehicle information. So that's one of the big benefits of having that the GravityCerts integration. So there is also the standalone plugin as well. So if you already have a great website, you're happy with it, you have Gravity forms on your site, you just need that last piece of the puzzle of being able to get your forms into your NowCerts account, you can download just the standalone plugin and set up that integration. It's pretty easy. We also have a video demo on how to get that set up and how to get all the form information pushed into your NowCerts account. But so that's one like a offshoot of GravityCerts, is just being able to have that standalone plugin. But the big benefit is actually having all these forms here ready for you, just ready to go for you as well, with all the conditional logic built in. We spent quite a few years just perfecting these. That way we're asking as much information as we need to actually quote for people, but we're not overloading the clients with too many questions or putting, 100 questions on one page and just making it too cluttered to make it seem, just overwhelming clients. So we found this happy medium so that people can work through the forms quickly and easily without feeling overwhelmed, but they also get all the information, we get all the information that we need to start the quotes. That's one of the big things.
So Gerald, do you want to show them once someone submits on the website and it pushes it into NowCerts? You want to show them what that looks like?
Sure. So if we go into NowCerts and here, this is my demo account. It'll go in under prospects and leads and then into quote applications. And let's refresh here. So this is where it'll end up, and you'll see the big list of all your quotes that come in. So this one, I just have the contact form come in, and this hasn't been merged. So basically you just click the edit button. And then once these fields are mapped, you just click save and merge, and then the prospect will be created. And then all the, the drivers, the vehicles, properties, all the date of births, FEINs, all that information, it'll get sent in and created as a prospect. It'll go into all the different insured items in that insured items drop down field. So anything that you have set up in there. So it'll create the prospect and push it all in there. And then once it's in NowCerts and it's in, in there, the prospect, then it can go and, you can populate your accord forms, any supplementals that you might need. That way you're not having to enter in all of that information all the time. It's a big time saver. I think with our agency, I've already put together, I think it's 80 to 90 supplementals that I've mapped with a lot of our custom fields as well. Because you can create custom fields in NowCerts as well, and then map those fields into other supplementals. So that's nice to have as well. That's just a quick overview of how everything gets into NowCerts, how the data kind of goes and creates a prospect, and then from there it can go into the accords or supplementals or anything else you might need.
Okay, so that was just a quick overview of the websites and the quote forms. So we can open it up if anybody has any specific questions. I know I got one chat, if you guys didn't see it. The question was, can we buy the plugin without the website package? And the answer is yes. You can go directly to the plugin site and pay for it. Does anybody have any questions on any other questions on the quote forms or the website? Okay.
Oh, I saw one question. Karen asked, do you wait to talk to the client before you merge? It's really up to you. You can do it right away. If it happens to be some random hack, they're just, you can tell they're like a crazy kook. Once in a while, we won't even bother merging it. We'll just basically toss them away. But for the most part, we merge them pretty much right away. If you have a CRM, it can go into that and you can start various campaigns if you're using a CRM as well. So. All
right, there we go. Got the link here.
And the other thing I was going to tell you guys too is with our agency, and again, you guys can obviously there's 1,000 ways to do things. But we usually have explain to the clients when they call to get a quote, and we just say, the best way to get us all the information that we need is for you to jump on our website, fill out a homeowner's quote or a business quote. That'll get us all the information that we need. And then if the agent has any questions, we'll give you a call. Otherwise, we can start working on your quote. By them providing all that information for you at their convenience, at their time, We found too that, I mean, as we're moving into this digital space with insurance, you know, the Geicos are doing it, all the big carriers are doing it, where people are just used to going online and filling out information. So while this might seem a little overwhelming for some of you to say, wow, you know, we've done it one way for so long, and are they really going to go online and fill out these quote forms? Yes, they do. And the clients love it. You're empowering them to be able to go to your site, fill out whatever you need to in order to get the quote, because that's what a lot of the carriers are doing nowadays. So it really does work, and it's a great experience because they don't have to wait Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or whenever your office hours are. They can request that quote at any time, and then you guys get a copy of it. The other thing too is if they don't have all the information that you're requesting to get a quote, there is a save and continue later button on each screen. And it also captures part of it. So like, let's say somebody starts a business quote or an auto quote and they get 2 or 3 pages in and then they abandon it or they don't have the information. It's still saved on your website. So you still would get that partial information, which is great because you could have somebody follow up with them. Maybe it got complicated or maybe they forgot to come back to it, but each page is automatically saved. So that's something that you guys can go back to later if you need to. Let's see, someone has a question, Camille. What would the plugin look like on my site? Would it look like this quote page? So this is our demo site with, this is our demo website. So whoever has your website, you would just need to have some kind of start quote button and you know, have the Gravity forms, the quote forms pre-filled out for the client to be able to go on whatever information you ask on the website is, and that's compatible with NowCerts. That's the information that's going to get pushed into NowCerts. So it wouldn't look per se like this unless we were doing your website, but it's mainly just that quote. It's all the quote information on the plugin that you would get. But if you wanted the way it looks with the buttons, and Joe, go back to click start quotes here. If you want, this is one of our templates. So if you like the way this looks, I mean, these images are all customizable, but yes, if you were to get the website and you wanted the quote forms, this would be one of the templates that we use for quotes. Karen asked, can you use it to take a submission? Not sure, Karen, what you mean by that. You can unmute Karen too if you want to ask a question. Or Darrell, do you have to unmute her?
I know, I was just pointing out that you can also use your own website, like on the fly, if you need to take a submission. This is more of a statement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the next feature then. So Darrell's going to talk to you about the second website that you get when you become a GravityCerts client.
So basically on our third tiered package, you end up getting 2 websites. You get your front facing website, the one that has all the quote forms, the leads. That's the one that you market to the general public, your leads go to it, etc. The second one is the agency dashboard. So this one's a second website, and it's designed to be your own agency internal website. And this is something to really help keep your agency organized, all your producers and CSRs on task. You can basically put anything you want in here. And we've seen in talking with other agencies, you know, you end up saving files and documents from carriers and trainings on, you know, on Google Drive or Dropbox and OneNote and sticky notes and on multiple people's computers. And it just ends up being all over the place. And it can get really complex really fast. Well, this fixes that because you can put everything into one spot, and then it can be categorized and indexed. That way you can get to this information quickly and easily, and it's, you know, accessible from any device as well. You can log in on your phone while you're out and about if you need to get a hold of a carrier. So like one of the big ones is the company or carriers list. where we can have these categorized by different lines of business or your markets, which is great, especially when you hire new producers. And they don't know what carriers you have that may write builder's risk or may write cyber, but once you can click on the category, and then they can see all the carriers. Like we just have a few in here for starters, but we could click commercial auto, and this would list all the carriers that write commercial auto that you're appointed with. Then in the carriers themselves, we can see again the lines of business they write, what states they're in. We know some carriers don't download into your AMS. A lot of them do, which is great. But you can also tag that as well as if they download or not. Give them, you put the URL straight to the login screen, so we don't have to guess about that. And then here we can have a specific admin section just for you agency owners. If there's anything that you need for the carrier, this is that your CSRs and your agents don't need to see. It's really just for you as a resource, licensing, compliance departments, things like that. And then from there, you can stick anything you want related to the carrier in here. You can put in the commission payments, how they take payments on their websites, all the phones, emails. We have on another carrier, we even put in like the ineligible breeds of dogs. We just copied and pasted their list in there, so we didn't have to go find it. You can also add tons of files in there. We know the carriers, they're always sending their brochures, their latest RCEs or calculators, different things. If they have specific AOR forms or whatnot that they want. Anything related to that carrier, you can put in here. And that's a nice way you can just easily access anything in here for related to your carriers. And it ends up being this part of our daily workflow. We have our email tabs open, we have the dashboard open, and then we can easily get in here and get into anything we want. Another one that your CSRs will really like is the mortgagee list, to help keep track of all these mortgagees and their addresses and where to send mortgagee changes, how to upload them. A lot of them use the My Coverage info, but then again, a lot of them don't. Some of them have, their PIN codes. So it's a nice, easy way to keep track of all these mortgagees and how to actually, send them the changes and stuff that they need. And again, we can have additional resources to keep your entire agency on task. It's great for a new agent or CSR training. We can create a whole new onboarding section. So this is just kind of like a demo page of what you can do. So it depends on your agency, on how your agency operates. We can set up your entire agency, your onboarding process in here. So day one, your new agent or your new CSR could come in here and you tell them, okay, today you work through steps 1 through 4, tomorrow they'll do 5 through 7, etc. And then they can easily be on track. And then you don't have to spend all day sitting there training them. You have it all right here, ready to go. And then they can go through it themselves. So it's a big time saver as well. So really with your dashboard, I mean, sky's the limit, really. You can do whatever you want for your agency. It's whatever's going to help you and your team be more efficient, be more on track. And so it's basically, you could just think of whatever you want to put in here. Just put in whatever you want to help your team.
If you go to click on the dashboard, Jarrell, just to show them, we also put some quick links on the front. So there's the things that you guys use every day, day to day in your agency. For instance, like if you're a commercial lines agency and you're working with ENS markets, we have our surplus line stamps right there. So you have multiple different states and you have different surplus line stamps in different states. It's just something you can quickly copy and paste. You have, if you do commercial insurance, you can look, send your COIs to the state contractors board. There's all kinds of things like Jarrell was saying. You can we categorize this however you want. We will give you the information that we have with some of the carriers. So if you don't happen to work with Progressive and you don't want all the Progressive information, great. We don't have to give that to you. We obviously don't have every carrier out there, but we will give you what we have. We've worked with a lot of agencies thus far. So we have a big list of different carriers and mortgage companies. So feel free to let us know what you want, what you don't want. And again, these like scripts and training materials, if you have all of your own information and you want to add it yourself, then we can give you a blank canvas, but usually we'll customize this so it looks similar. It's all your similar branding and colors and everything. It's just a separate user ID and login for your staff and for yourself. As an agency owner, it's great to have that admin section because you can put your user ID and password for all your carriers. So you can see what you have and you don't want the rest of your staff seeing it. Producer or agency codes, underwriting information. As you guys know, the underwriters are always changing. You got to update your user IDs and passwords for your staff regularly. And I don't know how everybody else does it. We've created the dashboard because I wanted one spot where the entire staff could go. It's editable. It's very easy to use. And this is on the back end of your website. So your producers and your staff, especially if they're working from home or out and about, and they need something, they can jump right onto the dashboard, log in, and they don't have to per se be in the office as long as they have that user ID and password. So this has been a great time saver for us. And especially with the lines of business, that's really helped our new producers know, like Jarrell said, what they can, which carriers do we write general liability with? What carriers do we write commercial auto with? And it's all right there and you can tag and label it. So it's a great feature, and it's just something that we think that every agency can implement. Yes, it's a little tedious at first because you do have to have, someone sitting there and putting in the information, but we do have a lot of information of pre-built content for you guys. So we're going to open up just for some Q&A here real quick. And Karen asked, did you can block, hide certain sections from staff? Yes. Jarrell, do you want to click on, let's say, one of the carriers? It's the admin section. So, okay, we're on traveler.
This admin section, this would be, for the agency admins only. We could also set it up so maybe you're using a VA somewhere, in the Philippines or something. You just don't want them to edit anything, but you want them to have access. Well, you can give them access to view everything, but they won't have the edit button at the top. So they can't actually go in here and change anything. You could give your, an agent that's in your office that you have more confidence in, you could give them the ability to edit things in here as well. For our agency, we all kind of work together, and if we call a carrier and they give us some new information, we all just kind of know to update this as needed. So it's not up to one person to update and do everything. It's a team effort, really. And that's what really works the best. We kind of spread the love among everybody, and everybody knows to update and add more information as they get it. That way it just makes everybody more successful in your team.
So Jarrell, click on the edit company button. This is obviously a WordPress website. So this is going to be what you guys would see, and you're working inside WordPress. This is the back end, but we've tried to make it as concise and simple as possible to use because I'm an insurance person. I'm not a tech person, and I want it to be as simple and straightforward as possible. So you do have your, bolding sections and highlighting, and you can add links and stuff. But if you scroll down to the bottom, Jarrell, the admin section is all the way down at the bottom, and it says admin only. So whatever you type in this box, this would be not visible to the rest of the team or the staff or whoever you give those. Each user ID and password has its own permission, so you can kind of set that up however you want. Well, that's kind of what it looks like. Does anybody else have any questions on the dashboard or how it's used? If not,
I would forgot to mention too, just real quick, it is branded for you. It's all white labeled for you. So your agency logo would be here. It would be your colors. That way it's all tailored for you specifically. So it won't say GravityCerts up here, and it'll have all of your colors on here. Just a little quick side note.
So Jake asked, is this a separate website or link off the other demo site? So if you look at the URL, it will say agency.gravitycerts.com or whatever your URL is. So it's a completely separate site, separate login, but it's based off your main website. It has nothing to do with our demo site.
Yeah, it ends up being most commonly a separate subdomain. If you know anything about that, you could do agency.yourwebsite or my.yourwebsite, whatever you want, whatever makes sense for you guys, whatever you like. It's really up to you. It's just pointing the domain, but it is a completely separate site and it's all locked down for your agency. So if you try and access any of these pages and you're not logged in, it'll just kick you back to the home page and tell you to log in first. So
yeah,
so it is secure as well.
Yep. And we didn't give you guys all the information. Somebody had asked about if it came with pre-built content. Like, we're on the travelers page right now. So the login for the travelers and the customer service phone number and stuff, we will give you guys all of the information that we have. Again, we'll have to go through which carriers you have and what carriers we already have the information for, but we are happy to give that to you guys as a part of the cost of the website and this part of the system. We've done the research and the gathering, and again, we don't have all the carriers, but whatever we do have for the company list, we're happy to share this. We have a lot more than this, but we didn't want to bog down the demo site. So we probably have, what would you say, Gerald, maybe 40 carriers worth of stuff.
Yeah, probably about that.
It's a lot. Granted, we're mainly West Coast, our agency. So for all you guys that are Midwest or East Coast, we may not have the same carriers, but we're happy to give you whatever you have. And that's a part of just your discussion with us when you come on board of what carriers you have and what content you want on your dashboard. Okay, I think that's it for the dashboard. Next, we're going to talk about our quote proposals. So one of the other features that GravityCerts offers is these custom quote proposals, which I'm super excited about because as the insurance agent for the company, I don't know how you guys all do your, presenting quotes to clients, but for the longest time, I would just type a big long email and attach the quotes as PDFs and then move on. Moving into that digital space, clients are really liking to see something different and something that's going to set your agency apart. And this quote proposal system definitely does that. So what we have done is once you have the information from the website or however you gather the information and you have your quotes from your carriers and you're ready to present to the client, this is again a part of your website, and so you can select different agents, and so each agent when they log in would see only their quotes, but you can toggle between different agents, or as the principal of the agency or an admin, you can obviously look at everybody's quotes. We've also put these in tabs, as you can see at the top, between what you're currently working on, which proposals have been sent to the clients, if a client has accepted the proposal, if they haven't accepted it. So every time you do a proposal and then you send it to the client, it automatically moves from the working column into the sent column. And then when someone accepts the proposal, it moves again in this pipeline from sent to accepted or not accepted. So it's an amazing feature. We're going to go through some of the we're going to look at the personal lines proposal first. We did one commercial and one personal lines. So again, completely customizable, different templates. You can add your logo on there. So this is what the client sees when you go to send the proposal. If you want to quote multiple, in this case, we're doing 3 different home options, or you could say, here's your current policy with State Farm, and we're quoting you a Safeco or whatever the carrier, and you can do a side-by-side comparison. You can put in the information here. You can put in your endorsements, put in the premiums, and you can also hide the premium. Some agencies don't like, and agents don't like to give the premium right out the gate. So that's very customizable. If you want to hide that, you can. You can also attach the quotes as PDFs and multiple documents. So there are a couple other quote proposal systems out there, but nothing this comprehensive, and you cannot attach more than one document. So if you wanted to send a couple different quotes, maybe an RCE, maybe the list of the different endorsements that the carrier is offering, you can do all of that. So it's beautiful. It's very easy to use. It's very easy for your agents to go ahead and edit it. And then when you're done, you just up at the top, you just click send this proposal. So you can email it to one client, you can email it to husband and wife. If it's a business proposal, you can send it to multiple different people. And it's super easy. You don't have to do it from anywhere else, but right here in this quote proposal system. If you click edit, Jarrell, I'm going to show them what the back end looks like here. So again, back end of your site, you're going to have the information, each tab up at the top. You just go tab by tab. Yes, this part you do have to manually enter whoever you're going to, your agent, your CSR, but you can send all these different personal lines types all on one proposal if you wanted: home, auto, motorcycle, renters, whatever you're doing. Same with commercial insurance. If you're going to do a GL and a workers' comp and a, packet or commercial auto, you can do that all in one proposal. You could even send commercial and personal if you want. Most people don't do that, but you certainly could. So that you just select which lines of business you want and it pre-populates it for you. The next tab is your video link. You don't have to do a video, of course, but this is compatible with Loom. If you guys aren't familiar with Loom, it's a great video recording service, and you can just copy and paste the video link when you're done and you paste it in here. And then when your clients are watching the proposal, they can watch your video where you explain what all the quotes are, and then you can give them the instructions if they want to move forward, how to do that. So our clients love it. I just had a guy the other day say, I've never seen an insurance video proposal before, and that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Don't ever stop doing that. So it definitely is different. Clients love it. And it makes it feel like if they were sitting in your office with you going over the quote proposal. So we have a lot of this pre-built out for you with just some of the, like where it says included coverages and endorsements. These are a lot of the main ones as far as home goes. So if you wanted to add any additional ones, we could do that for you, but we have that blank box that says additional information. So if you have something specific, like maybe they have a wedding ring that they want to schedule on the policy or something, or any type of extra endorsement, you can just type that in right there and it will show up on the quote page. You can easily add your PDF quotes right there, or any additional files. You can add up to 3. And if you're quoting multiple carriers and you're like, we want Travelers to be the #1 carrier out of all these that we're presenting, you can click that favorite button right there and it will highlight that whole proposal green. And then that way, that is the one that stands out, and that's the one that you are suggesting that your clients go with. So once you can again add home, auto, whatever you need to do. So when you're done, you just go back up to the top and you're going to click update. And your update is kind of like your save button inside WordPress. So it's updated, and then we'll just go back to the main page. And then now you can see the green one is highlighted progressive. So that would be the one that you'd want. And then Jarrell added that personal injury limit over there on that traveler's policy, and it shows up right down there at the bottom. So scroll all the way down, and when you're done with the proposal, all the way down at the bottom, this is how you tell your clients, okay, we want to move forward. Obviously, the goal with this is to have you do as least work as possible and still get the sale. So you just explain to them, okay, hey, we're going to quote your home with Progressive. Pick your effective date. You said you wanted it February 1st. They can put their date. They can put any questions or comments in there to you, and they click I accept. When they click I accept, you guys will get an email to whoever you've designated as your person to receive the email. Usually it's the agent that sent the quote. And then that'll be their cue to send them the applications to sign and gather the payment information, things like that. But then the client has, they can accept it. They can ask questions. There's that button that says, I have questions or want to make changes. Again, if they say, I want a different deductible or whatever they want, that'll also be emailed to you, and then your agent can correspond with them. So that is a great feature, and that is for personal lines. One thing I want to show you that we love for commercial, especially if you guys are doing the agency build accounts. We're going to click on this trucking one that we did. There's a sample of the video that I recorded with Loom for yesterday. So you can play it. People will watch the video, explain it. And then scrolling down all the way to the bottom, let's say that these are agency build accounts. Click I want to move forward. It will automatically add up the down payment that's due, and then direct them to your website. If you have a payment, whether you're using ePay policy or Simply Easier Payments, you can integrate that with this. So the client says, yes, I want the GL and the commercial auto. Here's how much the down payment is, and they click I accept. It automatically adds the down payment information up, or pay in full, and then it takes them to your website. They can type in the payment, you get the receipt, and you get an email saying, hey, your so-and-so client just accepted your proposal. So you're done, it's paid for, and now all you have to do is send them the application to sign via Ease, however you guys do that. So this has been a lifesaver as well, because people are just like, boom, 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 got the quote, looks awesome, I want to pay for it. Here, and then I accept the proposal. So this has been a big game changer for a lot of agencies that have used it, and everybody has commented how much they love it. So,
and this can link the buttons once the person clicks I accept. It can link to you if you use, like ePay policy or Simply Easier Payments or something. It can link directly to that payment page, so they could pay in full, go to your, Simply Easier Payments page or your ePay policy page and make that payment. And there's a way too, I can put in the URL so that it actually populates that amount on your payment page too, which is nice. There's a little bit of integration there that I've just kind of offhand found out that like ePay policy and Simply Easier Payments has, by being able to add the payment amount in the URL. That way the client doesn't have to go back and guess how much to pay. It's just automatically populated in your payment page. So it makes just one extra little thing to make it that much easier for your clients.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna do a little Q&A here because I got some questions. One of the questions, is it practical for an agency with only 2 states? Sure. I mean, you can do this with 1 state. We work within 3 states, so you can have it as complicated or as simple as you want it. We can pre-set up the conditionals for each state for the quoting. But yeah, it doesn't matter how many states you operate in. This is a great option. So hopefully that was the question you were asking, Cliff. Michelle asked, how does it work with financing? Great question. Cheryl, do you want to show them?
So for agency build, you have a couple options. If you know all your quotes are agency build, you can just come up to the top and click all quotes are agency build. If only some of them are agency build, like in this case, the commercial auto, it was through Progressive, it's a direct build. But down here, the professional liability through Scottsdale, that would be agency build. So then we just toggle, yes, that's agency build. And on the proposal, it will add up all the agency build premiums. And so you could have 10 lines of business if you really wanted to, right? That are all agency build. It'll add up all these premiums for to do the paid in full. If you already know what the financing is going to be, like you already have a financing company, you've already set up your financing and you know what the down payment is, you can also set it in here. And then that's where it'll give you those 2 options that I already showed you after I clicked accept. It had those 2 buttons. So it gave the option to pay this amount or pay the total agency build premium that was right here.
Mm-hmm.
Put
So
that in
yes, you would do
there.
your quotes, and then you would go do your finance agreement, so you know how much the down payment is, and you'd go back in and put in your financed amount, and then it gives the client the option to make the payment, either the down payment, or which you now know what it's going to be since you just did the finance quote, or the full payment. So it's a pretty slick system. Jake had a question. Can you edit one of the quotes with their current info, so side by side? Yes, that's what I was saying that we love to do. So instead of putting, let's say here on this commercial auto, let's say that they have Progressive currently, but you're going to offer whatever, Nationwide or Great American. I usually just would put current, comma, like State Farm, or current policy, comma, Progressive, whatever they currently have. And you'd look at their deck page, or whatever information they currently have with their current pricing, and then what you're proposing would be highlighted green, obviously, with and then your quote options. So yes, definitely doing the side by side is great. I like side by side versus apples to apples, as I'm sure all of you hate that term too. But that's what I tell clients. This is currently what you have. This is what we're proposing. And they love seeing that side by side. It makes it really easy to see the differences in coverage and pricing. One more question. Karen said, do the quotes stay in here forever? And are you logging them into NowCerts? So the quotes are going to stay in there. They get moved in the pipeline. So, I mean, if the client doesn't accept it, let's say they call your agency and they say, yes, I want to go over this. I want to start the policy over the phone. You would just need to teach the staff to change the quote from the sent column into the accepted column, and it just stays there. What I like to do is next year at renewal, if I've done like a big commercial or whatever it is, big proposal, all I have to do is go back in to my last year's proposal, which is great for renewals, and you're just going to edit the carrier options and all of that, and then you can put it back into the sent column. So you just can toggle back and forth between the different columns. So you don't have to recreate the wheel every year at renewal time. You just can go in and you can edit last year's. If you edit last year's though, then your original quote is gone. So that's the only thing to think about. If you want something new and you want to be able to see what you said last year versus this year, then you'd want to create a new proposal from scratch. But if you're fine just updating what you did before, then you don't need to do that. And to answer your questions about NowCerts, if you're going to keep the proposal the same way and you're not going to re-edit it, you can, what we do is we copy and paste the URL and we put that into NowCerts, and we just said, send quote proposal to client, and we copy and paste the link, so we can always go back and pull that up in the future to look at it. And then of course we save the quotes as PDFs in the documents section. But that's a way to go back in and look at the quotes.
And there's also, of course, some integration with Zapier and using some other CRMs. You can use Better Agency to send your proposals as well, and then start your campaigns, Agency Zoom, whatever CRM you want. So you could do, say email to client, and then instead of your site sending the email, it would send into your CRM, and then from there it would create the campaign and send the email through your CRM, and then it would do the follow-up campaigns or however you have it set up in there. So that's a nice thing too. So after a day or two, they might get another email, and another couple of days they'll get another email for following up to make sure that they actually come in here and look at your proposal. And that helps close a lot more deals too.
Yeah. Karen asked, can you send the finance? Are you sending the finance agreement after they accept? Yep. So what we do is when they click accept, I don't know if Drill, if you can click send again, but it says we have a pre-built in like little blurb that says your agent's going to send you the forms to sign. Yeah, your agent's been notified, and we will be sending your applications to sign via e-signature. You can make your payment now via whatever payment method. So that little page is completely customizable. So however your agency works, you guys can update that. But yes, then once we get the notification that, hey, your client's accepted your proposal, they've made their payment online, Then we just send them whatever applications, supplementals, and the finance agreement to sign, and then we bind it with the carriers. Jake asks, so send the URL link to the proposal for the client, or how do they log in to view the proposal? Great question. They just use their email address. So when you're setting up the proposal system, you just put in their email address, and I always check it just to make sure you typed it in correctly, but they'll get that link in the email.
Yeah, I'll actually show you here. I opened this up in a new browser. So I opened up Safari instead. So acting like I'm the client, and they're clicking on the link for this URL, right? So they're going to go to this, and then they're going to get presented with this page where they just have to enter in their email, and then they can click view proposal, and then they'll see the actual proposal. They don't need any sort of account login or anything. Just the email needs to match the email that you put in here in the proposal.
Yeah.
So that way, it's not indexable, not just anybody who, goes onto your site can land on this page and see some client's random proposal or anything. It's somewhat private for clients. The email has to match in here for them to be able to see it.
Yep. And you can send multiple emails, like I think we mentioned. So if you have husband and wife that both want it, or partners or something, you can send it to multiple people. They'll each be able to log in and view it using their own email address. So that's real brief on the quote proposal system. I know that was kind of a lot. Does anybody else have any questions before we move on to the client center? No? Okay. So last but not least, the client center. So for those of you that are using NowCerts does have their own client center, which is great. The reason we love our client center is twofold. First of all, if you look at the URL up at the top, the client center is on your website, which again is driving your SEO up, because Google loves it when people are spending 3, 5, and 10 minutes on your site, whether they're filling out a quote form or they are, here on the client center, watching proposals, whatever they're doing, it's on your site. So that is driving that traffic, which is going to make your Google rankings better. So the client center, so that's one of the reasons we love the client center, is it's really branding you and helping your SEO, while at the same time providing a very custom experience for your clients. This is completely customizable with each of sections of whatever you want to show them, with your logo on it. It's very easy to use. And so the clients can come in here. So let me back up real quick. When a new prospect goes to your website and they want to submit a quote request, there's a button or a question at the very bottom that says, do you want to create an account with your agency? If they click yes, it asks them to create a user ID and password, which then later, once they become clients, they can use that same user ID and password, because that ends up being their login, even though they don't know it at that time. That ends up being their login information for the client center. So they would go to your website and they're going to click login at the top, and then that would pull them up into the client center. So they can do so much in this client center. They can review their policies. Obviously, we put some sample policies in here. This person's got commercial auto, it's got their effective dates, the carrier information. And the nice thing with NowCerts is if you're using all downloaded carriers, all this information is just going to automatically come into the client center for you, including driver's information. And if it's manually entered, you would need to, if you want all this information on there, you just have to make sure you're filling out your insured items tab with the drivers, and or using the quote system or the quote forms, which will push that data into NowCerts for you. But either way, that information has to be in there if you want it to be visible on the client center. So they can look at their policies, they can request changes, which is great. Again, the purpose of your website is to really have it be that multifunctional tool. So you want people submitting business on there, requesting their own auto ID cards or pulling them themselves, getting copies of their policies, requesting changes. If they do a service request change from here, then that will automatically pull in or push into NowCerts, and it will create a service request inside NowCerts so your team can handle it, which is great. If they need to add a driver and it's 9 o'clock at night, or add a car, they can go right onto the client center, they can type in the information, and then your office has it first thing in the morning. So it's really a great way to, again, empower the clients to do a lot of the work themselves, but also at their convenience. So they don't have to wait for necessarily your office to be open. You can also toggle back and forth between, in this account, we have a commercial account and we have their personal account. So if you do both different types of businesses for a client, they have one spot where they can log in and they can see, okay, here's my home, auto, and umbrella information, and here's also all my business information. And they have one screen they can look at, and they can go back and forth between each type of business that they have, and clients love it. This is super helpful too when you have clients in multiple states. So if you have, someone that has their home and auto in Texas, and then they also happen to have a second home or, a business in another state, doesn't matter what states they are, as long as that carrier information and those policies are in your agency, it can show up here. So great for just an awesome way to be able to help clients, especially if they have different policies in different states with you guys. I'll let Jarrell talk to you guys about the document section, because he's the techie person, and he understands that it is a feature that's coming.
So the documents is a new thing that's coming. I know it's new with NowCerts as well. They revamped their entire document system. When I talked with Caden the other day, they're still migrating everything into their new document system as well. So this is a work in progress. We're just getting some integration, getting some fine tuning with NowCerts together. But they will be able to go into the documents tab, see folders and files. So I just have a few different, basic folders in here. I don't think I have any files in here, but they can click into folders, and if there was files in here, they would be able to see them. And this is kind of like a little breadcrumb. So if you have, 3, 4, 5 levels deep of folders, if you want to get that granular, you definitely can. And it'll just create, go into additional folders. They will be able to also add their own files if they need to upload anything to you. Also create folders as well. They can create their own folders and files also. So it'll be a nice way for people to actually come in here. They don't have to call your office if they lose an auto ID card. I don't know how many people call us and somehow lose auto ID cards. I don't know how that's possible, but they do. So they'll be able to just come in here, download their auto ID card. They don't have to bug the office. It's nice to have it instead.
People will be able to use this as well, like if they need to get you a copy of their current policy, or if they, a copy of a trust, or, a piece of jewelry, an appraisal for jewelry, whatever document you want. And this is great because it automatically puts it into NowCerts in your documents under the document section. So it's one less thing you and your staff have to do. They don't have to email it as an attachment, and then you have to relabel it and save it into NowCerts. That's why you want to push traffic to your website and get the clients to really use the self-service portal to upload, and this is the best way to get us this information. Just get into your client center, upload it to us, and it just automatically pushes it into NowCerts for you. So it's amazing. That's just a brief overview of the client center. Does anybody have any questions on this? Karen asked, can you disable this if you don't want self-service? Jarrell, I will defer to you on that.
You can, you can make this just, it could just be a viewable thing. You don't have to have the documents available. It's not actually live right now because we're still working with NowCerts on getting this live. So right now they just have access to policies and contacts. So they can just come in here and view their policy information. If you don't want them to submit service requests on their website, you don't have to. We could just disable that form, and then they don't have to do the self-service themselves. Hope that kind of answers your question there.
It's not per se self-service in the fact like they're not making any changes on their policy. All they're really, this is just a way for them to view the information that they have so they don't have to bother the office. It's a way for them to see what's my deductible and when does my policy come up for renewal and how much is my premium and, you know, just overall coverages, and it's more informational than anything. So yes, if you don't want them though to have the ability to say, hey, I want to swap out my car or I want to do this or that, all it is an email to you, and then it does push that into your service request section of GravityCerts. But if you don't use that and that's not your workflow, then that's completely fine. Jarrell can just totally take that request to change off of your website. That's fine as well. You don't have to do that. Sorry, Karen has one more question. Does the login to the proposal you get, does everyone get a client center? Sorry, Karen. Maybe if you can rephrase that, or I'm just not reading it right. Well, she's redoing that. The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys real quick is on your website, we also have the ability for your mortgage companies to request copies of the mortgagee, to upload a copy of their request to you if you want to use this. We've been using it because we get thousands of mortgagee requests and we don't want to spend time with the lender on the phone. So we'll just push them to the website and they can upload their information with the client's name, policy number, etc. They can hit submit. Again, you get an email and then they are telling you, how do you want us to send you this information? So this is a newer feature that we've implemented, but it's been working great and it's been saving a lot of time for a lot of agencies because they don't have to spend that time on the phone verifying mortgagee information. Some of the lenders, as working with lenders, some of them are like, oh, I've never done this before. But I'm like, well, you guys ask us to upload, policies to mycoverageinfo.com or whatever it is. So this is the best way for us to get you this information. So they've just started doing it now automatically, which has been great. And your staff, if they call, can obviously do it over the phone as normal, or they can send them to this page. But I just wanted to mention that this is definitely something that is on the website and it's available as a resource if you want to use it.
Just looking at Karen's question, I think I understand what you're asking, Karen. Talking about the quote proposal login to view the proposals versus logging in to view the client center. I think that's what you're trying to get at. Okay. So with the quote proposals, you don't have to have an actual login. There's no account or anything. There's no saved information, by the person. They don't need any of that to view the proposal. They basically just need to enter their email address in that you put in the proposal. So if I go back to the proposals, I'll show you here. I'll go to this accepted one. I'll go to here. So basically the person has whatever email you put in here for the client, they need to put in this email or in here if they've put in additional emails, or it needs to match one of these emails. So if you put, name at email.com and then, another at email.com. The email that they put in to view the proposal needs to match one of these emails. But it's not like a traditional account. On the client center, they need to create an actual account because they're actually viewing, actual policy information. It's private information that you don't want people to see. So they need an actual account to be able to view their information there.
Okay, great.
Hope that answered it for you.
I think she got it. Yeah. Okay, so that was our hour. Sorry guys, we went a little bit over. It is a lot of information. There's a lot of different features and we just really kind of scratched the surface of what GravityCerts is able to do for your agency. Granted, everybody's going to have their own needs and wants for this. So if you guys are interested, on gravitycerts.com on our website, there are different tiers as far as the different packages and what the pricing is. We're going to go through that with you guys real quick. So again, if you just want the plugin, you can buy just the plugin. And if you already have a website and you're happy with it and you don't want any of the other features, you can just come to the products and you can just click on the plugin and you can just purchase the plugin. So super easy on that one. If you do want a revamped website, oh, and the other thing I should just mention real quick is that, you know, the nice thing with GravityCerts is that if you decide you want to change your logo or you want to do a refresh of your website in 5 years, you don't have to completely do a whole new website. It's something we can just jump in there for you. We can refresh it. We can add new content. We can just kind of like pretty it up and change it, modernize it, because you're not going to want the same looking website in probably 10 years from now. So it's not coming over to GravityCerts is not like something where you're like, oh man, I got to pay for a website and this is going to be it till I die. You guys can completely change this. We can change themes. We can change colors. The initial setup fee is down at the bottom of each pass. So we have the solo pass, the team pass, or the agency pass. Pretty much everything we talked about today is under that agency pass. And then there's also a monthly hosting fee. So that is the pricing on there. What we wanted to offer to you guys though, and I said in the beginning to kind of stay tuned, is that because you guys are all NowCerts users, or I'm assuming you guys are all currently using NowCerts as your AMS, we have a preferred partner pricing deal for NowCerts users. So it is a 20% discount off the setup fee. But for today only and for the next 24 hours, for everybody that's on here that has stayed on, we're going to offer you guys an extra, so 25% off total off the setup fee. So that's about $1,000 off the setup fee. So we are going to, I'll put that in the chat of what the, or Joe, if you want to put in the chat, the code that you guys can use. So if you are interested, you can go to gravitycerts.com, type in the code, and then you would get your 25% off. And then what the steps are is we would contact you guys, talk about what you want, you know, get your copy of your URL to your current website if you have one. What do you want to change? What, you know, what kind of style do you want? And we really go through a customized onboarding process. And then once the site is ready to be live, we would email you guys the URL, the login, make sure everything looks the way you want it. And then right as the site goes live, we would do a training with you and your team on how all the different features work, make sure that you guys all feel comfortable with it. And then of course there is regular training as much as needed. So that's our special offer for all of you guys today, is that extra 25% off.
So the code, I put it in the chat, but it's GravityNC25. So that'll be the code there for you. So after you click get started, there'll be a little thing you can say, click, you know, put the promo code in there. So if I just put it in there, you can say, you know, click to enter and then type in the code. Super easy. After this page, there's also another website questionnaire that's going to help me and help the team with getting your sites up and running as quickly as possible. I think I saw a question in here a while back ago. Somebody asked about losing current content. So if you already have a current site, a lot of the setup fee goes towards actually migrating your current content over. That way you're not losing anything. And then it's also optimizing and improving what you currently have. So we'll take whatever you currently have, move it over, then do, you know, all the improvements, SEO updates, and anything we can to really optimize your site, make it as awesome as possible, as fast as possible, do all, you know, everything for SEO. And then we'll do the extra improvements as well, and the extra integrations. That way you're not losing out on what you currently have as well. So I know that's important.
Yeah. All right, well, we can open it up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions on any of the features or any of the pricing or just questions in general, any comments, you guys can either unmute or use the chat feature if you want. If nobody has any questions, we really appreciate the opportunity. I know you guys are all super busy, so I know how it is to sit and watch a vendor's presentation. So hopefully it wasn't boring. we're learning too, and just we really appreciate your guys' time.
Yeah, again, just want to thank everybody here. We'll stay on for a little bit if anybody has any extra questions or wants to talk or chat or anything for a little bit. Otherwise, we really appreciate your time and taking the time to check us out. We'll also be in a couple weeks. At the end of the month, we'll be on the happy hour with Caden and their, I think it's the 24th or 25th, whatever that last Thursday of the month is, we'll be on there as well. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you there too.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
Hey, what was the price on if you just use the plugin or whatever you would call it, where like if you want to keep your website, but you wanted to just, what was the price on that?
Yeah, so the plugin is just like a standalone. If I have a few tiers here, just in case you're using it for like multiple websites, right? Most agencies, they just need it for their own website. So you would just need this one here. It's the $119 a year. And that one, you just get that, download it, and then it works just like any other plugin where you activate the plugin, put in your license key, and then there's the couple fields in there you'll need from NowCerts, like your NowCerts agency ID, and then your API integration user role, their username and password for that. And then once that's in there, then you can pretty quickly and easily set up all your forms that's in your site to push into NowCerts. There is a video on it as well on the features page, on the plugin features.
Okay.
Down here, this one kind of walks you through how to get set up, getting the plugin activated, getting your license keys and everything set up and getting everything into NowCerts. It goes pretty quickly, really. There's a bunch of different options in there too for what you want to do. The most common one, I'll actually show you here since I'm sharing my screen. So this one, the new quotes insert or update prospect, this will send everything in your form into NowCerts. And then these are some other options. So you have some service request ones and then some other specific ones in here. You can also, if you're using the opportunities in NowCerts, you can create opportunities as well. So that one's pretty cool. With this one right here, this will send everything into NowCerts for you.
Okay. So what exactly is it if you just do that plugin on your own website, other than the content and stuff? I mean, I've got my own content I've already done and all that. So other than like that specific stuff, if you just use the plugin, what would you not have that you would have if you did the other package?
Are you talking about just like the plugin pricing up here?
No, well, I guess I'm just not understanding completely the plugin on my own website versus doing your website and the package and everything.
So
okay, yeah, I got you. Like having this plugin basically doing this plugin versus doing the website.
Yeah, like what I mean, is it just content and things like that I would be missing, or is there anything within how this all works itself that I would be missing if I only did the plugin?
So with the plugin, it's just like any other WordPress plugin. You just get the plugin, you use it, right? You stick it on your site. With the website, you're getting basically the whole shebang. You're getting a whole website solution. It's like professionally managed website. So we can take your current content. If you really like your design already on your website, we can do something to do some, make a really similar design style for that if you already like it. But we have a lot of the extra content already available. And then also the quote forms an integration already set up with NowCerts as well. One of the big ones is having all the forms already built in and ready to go.
So like,
So Chad, do you already have all your own quote forms with Gravity Forms? You already have all that built out onto your site?
no, I have not with Gravity Forms. I mean, I have some of my own forms that I've put on there, but they're just basic information grabbing. They're not sophisticated.
Which is what, yeah, so that's part of the website and the package, is that these are super sophisticated. They're very intricate. So the plugin, what it would do is whatever information and questions you're currently asking, that is the only content that would get pushed into NowCerts. So by buying the plugin, you're still capturing the data, which is great, and you're pushing it into NowCerts, but you're not getting any of the other stuff that we talked about today.
Gotcha. Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's like, that plugin is literally just basically to get the information to NowCerts.
Yeah, that's like the last link in the chain. If you already have everything else that you might want, that's that last little piece that'll move everything from your website into your NowCerts account. So that's just kind of like the little connector plugin that does that.
Gotcha.
The website solution is everything else that we talked about. That's the whole shebang.
And is Gravity Forms part of y'all's company too, or I haven't even heard of that one before?
No, they're a different plugin. They're like the #1 form building plugin out there for WordPress. They're a really solid plugin. They've been around for quite a while now, quite a number of years. They have really good developers. I mean, everybody that I know uses them pretty much. They're a good, solid plugin, solid developers. And they have a lot of integration as well and extensibility. Like for me as a programmer, I can take it and basically do whatever I want with it, right? I can program it to do anything I want. So that's the nice thing with it. There's no real limitations. It's really just limited to your programming knowledge and your imagination. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the benefit of getting a package, is that we've built out all of these different lines, and we didn't even show them all to you. We have one for bonds and we have one for all kinds of stuff pre-built already, all the questions that you're going to need. You can tweak it, of course, if you want to. And again, if you're a personal lines agency and you don't do commercial, you don't need to have those quote forms on there. But it will literally give you probably 99% of the data that you need from your prospect, which will then get pushed into NowCerts for you and put under all the correct properties tab, drivers tab, insured items tab. It's amazing, so that you don't have to input any of that stuff manually.
Gotcha. All right. So last question, I'll let somebody else get in here. So along those lines though, like, do you basically have your agency set up to where, like, I mean, I have all my folks are on the phone right now, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. So if your business is set up this way, are you basically eliminating the phone talking and having just directing your potential prospects or leads or whatever directly here and leaving them alone and then calling them back?
So yeah, if we get a call into the agency and someone says, hey, I'm looking for a homeowner's quote or an auto quote or whatever it is, and we kind of do our little spiel and we say, that's great, we'd love to help you, get that quote. We're going to need, about 5 to 10 minutes of your time to gather information, name, date of birth, driver's license, information on the house, etc. If it's convenient for you, we highly recommend, if you want to visit our website, whatever your website domain is. And if you want to spend 5 or 10 minutes on the site, that's going to ask you all the information that we need at your leisure. And then the client will, 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh yeah, great, what's the site? And they'll go on and they'll submit it later. Now, if you don't want that option or you're nervous about that, you can't, your team can still stay on the phone and they can just go in, click start quotes here. They can ask the questions, so you don't even have to train your staff. And because, sometimes they might forget to ask a driver's license number or a date of birth or something about the house. They can just follow each page for the client or your older clients maybe that don't have access to the internet, and they still can hit submit. It will still then push that data into NowCerts. And so if they're going to be on the phone anyways, they might as well be doing it this way through the site. So to answer your question, you can do it however you want, but yes, we are eliminating the need for our staff to pay them to spend time on the website when the clients are going to give you all that data anyways. They just do it themselves.
Does it integrate with any raters?
It integrates with NowCerts, and NowCerts integrates with, I think it's Turbo Rater or something. So if it's integrated with NowCerts, then the data is, as long as it's in NowCerts, it would integrate with the Rater.
So it will go, once it's in NowCerts, you can set it up to go directly into Turbo Rater somehow.
Yeah, that's in NowCerts. They have some raters options. If you go into the profile here, I'll kind of show you. I think it's under, I want to say it's configure API. They have a bunch of different services in here. They have like Quote Rush. So basically, it kind of does like this little leapfrog. It'll go from your website into NowCerts, and then it goes from NowCerts into whatever rater. Because there's a lot that happens in between NowCerts and then in the raters. So with all the, with, you know, how the data gets pushed in. I think they have, you know, like Blitz for nuking, TransPay. I know there's Turbo Rater somewhere in here.
So the more information, the more vendors that NowCerts works with and partners with, the more options we will all have. So our system is just getting the data into NowCerts. So whatever, the more vendors that NowCerts partners with, as long as that data is in NowCerts, then it's gonna push that through to the e-pay policies, the finance agreement companies, the raters, all of that. So it's pretty great.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for all the questions. I'd like to keep the discussion going with you.
No, it's fine. All right, sounds good. Thanks. All right, anybody else have any questions?
And Karen asked, yeah, you get the plugin, the website, the agency dashboard, quote proposals, hosting, support. Yep, all of that. you get lots of stuff. You get all of that. Yep. You get the quote forms as well. So that's all in there too. The whole, the dashboard, you put that in there. Yeah, you get everything. Also the client center. Support. We didn't really mention it. There's some landing page templates as well. So if you're going to do a lot of landing pages and marketing, we have several templates already built out, and then you can just duplicate them, swap out the images and, you know, the content for the landing pages, your titles that you're targeting, things like that. The URLs and your buttons to wherever you're going. But we have some landing pages in there too, and they work great. Everything's all mobile optimized as well, so they look really good on a phone, since it seems like everyone's on Facebook on their phone anymore instead of on the computer. So that's in there too.
Jarrell, Michelle wants to know if this is compatible in other languages.
Good question. Me personally, I am not a linguist. I don't know any other languages myself, so I don't have anything in other languages right now. That could be something that could be built out later on in the future. I would need to work with somebody that is bilingual, that understands things, because I mean, you can use Google Translate, you know, switch something from English to Spanish or, you know, whatever language, but there's still that disconnect. I don't think it still really does the grammar and does the languages correctly, is from what I've been told, especially if you switch it from one language to another, then switch it back, it gets messed up. So to do that, I would like to work with somebody that, you know, is Spanish or any other language, really. I mean,
I definitely think that that's something that we've already been asked, and we are definitely would be a feature request and something that we would definitely consider doing. But again, we would need to bring on a fluent speaking person in probably a couple different languages to be able to even have the option to view in English or Spanish or French or whatever language it would be. But so right now, no. But that is something that I think would be very beneficial for a lot of different agencies.
Yeah, great question.
Anybody else? Don't be shy.
Is a Zapier account included? So we have it set up so that your forms can use Zapier, but no, a Zapier account itself wouldn't be included. You could just, create your own Zapier account. They have all sorts of different pricing tiers, so anywhere from somewhat inexpensive to really, really expensive. So we can integrate that with your account already, but it wouldn't come with a Zapier account, just as it is.
And you probably wouldn't really need a Zapier account because the plugin replaces Zapier getting all of that information because it's way more custom and you can get multiple drivers, multiple vehicles. That Zapier does not have the ability to do that. So it would be interesting. I don't know in what scenario you would actually need an additional Zapier account if you're going with GravityCerts. So maybe, but you probably wouldn't need that.
I could see some cases where maybe you need Zapier because it has to integrate with like a calendar system that you have. Maybe you have Calendly or some other CRM that only has integration through Zapier. There's so many businesses out there, and there's a lot of them that only integrate through Zapier. So if you already have one of those accounts that that integrates only through Zapier, then yeah, we can definitely get it connected with your forms and whatnot, but not as that we would be an actual Zapier account. But yeah, it does come in really handy having Zapier for some things. I've seen some people do some pretty impressive stuff with Zapier too.
We do have a lot of integrations though, Drill. If you want to if you guys go to gravitycerts.com, there's a whole integrations page of all the different vendors and stuff that are compatible, and we're going to be constantly adding new ones. We're also constantly in communications with different CRMs, working with them as well. So that is going to be coming as well, different CRMs, but it takes a little bit of time to get all that set up. So
trying to remember where I put it. Oh, I know I think I have some stuff on the homepage.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not all of them, but I have a bunch of little stuff in here where you can integrate with MailChimp, also with HubSpot as well, and they're a good CRM as well. Now Certs, of course. You can do some things with Twilio if you have a Twilio account. If you want to also, after a person submits a quote form and you want to send them a text confirmation like, hey, thank you for submitting your quotes, and you have a Twilio account to do that, you could definitely do that. There's also some stuff with signatures as well. If you want people to actually like draw out their signature, you can do that. There's Slack also. If you're a larger agency and you use Slack for a lot of your internal, like your HR, customer support, creating tickets, this is great, especially if you have clients doing service requests and you're using Slack to create those service requests and manage that internally in your team. It can be sent through Slack as well. Stripe, you can also set that up. So, take payments through Stripe. We do that on our website. We have a couple options for people where they can just pay using a credit card and it processes through our Stripe account, or they can pay through EFT if they want, and then they pay through our Simply Use Your Payments account. So it gives them a couple options. And then there's some more in here as well. So, and we're always looking to make more integrations too. That's always fun. I like doing that. Oh, is it possible to upgrade from one package to another? Michelle, good question. Yes, it is. You can always start out on the beginning tier here, we went into the pricing. You can start out here. You'll have your account in GravityCerts as well. So you could actually come in and manage your account, manage everything in here. And then if you're in one of those tiers, there will be an option in here for you to upgrade if you want. So if you want to move to the Teams Pass or the agency pass later on, you definitely can. And then it just prorates everything for you, and it calculates it all everything for you, and then we can get you all set up.
But right now,
Yeah.
with the discount that we have going on, you'd get the top tier for the middle tier pricing. So we're giving a lot away for this first initial setup for this first webinar. So it would mainly just be, you know, the monthly fee is, I think it's a $50 a month difference, which is bad.
I guess for the last few people that have stayed on here, I'll show you one quick thing I've been working on is a special media archive for everybody, where I'm basically creating an image archive for all GravityCerts clients that you can use on your website, which is great if you're creating landing pages and you want some nice images. And I have them all tailored out towards different lines of business as well, you know, for personal lines, commercial lines, and then we're adding more categories here as well. So if I just showed you some of the landing page images that we have in here, and this is going to be a constantly evolving thing where we're going to be adding more and more images as well for you as well. So it'll just be a nice resource if you want to create a new landing page. And you're going to target some sort of niche market, you can jump in here and see what we have available, and then you can just say like you like this guy here, you can just click on him, and then you have several options as well. You'll have the big like landscape full size one, a portrait style one, or a square one, and then several different sizes as well. So then you can just click and download it to your computer and then use it on your own website. So this is just kind of a secret little added feature we have for our GravityCerts clients. It's a new thing that we're working on kind of as a little side project.
All right, guys. Well, if nobody has any other questions, we'll probably gonna bring this to a conclusion, but we really appreciate it again. And thank you guys all for attending.
Thank you. And I guess Michelle, yes, we have some landing page templates available for you. And when we create your site for you, there's a few different designs. And then you can duplicate those for whichever market, whatever you want to target for those landing pages. We could set up a separate demo if you want to talk about that a little bit. But yes, there are landing pages available, and they look great. They convert well, and then there's multiple options as well. They're all responsive and mobile friendly, so they look good on all devices.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much and have a great rest of the day. Okay, bye.
Bye, thanks.